Hey everybody, welcome back to Magic Orthodoxy. My name is David and this is a book review. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Friday, and a while back, man, it seems like a month now or so, I promised that every single Friday I would do a different book review off of my Magic shelf, and so far I've been pretty good at keeping that promise. Today we got a great one for you, a classic of Magic. What do I mean by a classic? I mean, this is one of those books that kind of every serious card magician agrees on, and sadly, out of print, very hard to find. And not surprisingly, I do get asked a lot in the comment section, what are some good books? What are some of the best books? What's the book that's going to take me to the next level? And a couple people have already asked about this book. So a big shout out to Pranjal, Wyatt Corbin, and Fede Kaplan. They all asked me to do this book, and here we go. All right, Tangled Web by Eric Mead, The Paper Engine by Aaron Fisher, Drawing Room Deceptions by Guy Hollingworth, and today's book, By Forces Unseen, The Innovative Magic of Ernest Eric by Stephen Minch. These are some of the very best card magic books you could have on your shelf. And also, I would add, some of the hardest, some of the most difficult. This one in particular, I'll warn you right now, this is not an easy book by any means. This book came out in 1993. It has 216 pages. It is hardbound and illustrated. Originally, it retailed for about $35. Now you can buy it on eBay for around $100. I got it for $50 at a local magic shop in Texas that I happened to find while out shopping. And let me just say, if you ever pass by a magic shop, an actual physical brick and mortar shop, don't pass by, go in, because you never know what they're gonna have on their shelf. A lot of times, sometimes these store owners don't even realize that they have expensive cards just sitting there in their cabinet, or expensive books that are going for a lot of money. And this book was priced only at 50 bucks, and they only had one left on their shelf. It was still shrink wrapped. I had to grab it, I had to pick it up, I had to buy it. So please continue to give your money to local shops like that. We want to keep those ma and pa shops alive. All right, so Ernest Eric. If you don't know who he is or haven't heard his name before, don't beat yourself up. He actually didn't perform professionally, but he was known as one of the greatest sleight of hand artists with a deck of cards ever. In fact, his broadside swivel steel is among the moves taught in this book, which the legend Di Vernon was impressed by when Ernest visited the Magic Castle in 1986. It was said that he had the best ever bottom palm of anyone. And if you actually look up Dennis Baer, he's a German sleight of hand artist, you can see some of Ernest Eric's tricks performed. All right, so what's in this book? What are you going to learn? What is in the table of contents? Well, the very first part of the book has an apologia. This is the only part of the entire book that's actually written by Ernest Eric. The rest of this book is done by Stephen Minch, who was commissioned to do this book, to take on this massive project. The rest of this book is divided into 2 sections and 21 tricks. Part 1 is called Tight Tricks and a Loose Sleight, and part 2 is called See Them Shuffling Along. The first section is a collection of more traditional card tricks, and the second section is effects utilizing a special riffle shuffle technique that he will teach you. And among those 21 tricks, you're going to learn cards that appear at your fingertips when your spectator only thinks about them, and then another trick where you clap your hands and cards shoot out of the deck. You're going to learn slow motion fingertip card steals, new ways to riffle shuffle, a one-handed bottom palm, and a palm-to-palm card transfer that are completely invisible to the naked eye. The best tricks in this book, my opinion, are Flippant Triumph, Claptrap, Proteus, Jack Synapses, Cat O' Nine Tails, and Thought Manifest. And if you want to look up some of these tricks just to see what they look like, search YouTube for Ernest Eric. In fact, you might want to start with the trick Proteus. If you search Proteus, even probably without Ernest Eric's name, you'll see a lot of different sleight of hand guys that are trying to tackle Proteus, and you can see some examples of what that trick looks like. But let me just say, the tricks in this book are hard. They are hard. This is a textbook, meaning you will study this book. This is one of those books that'll take you at least a year to get through. It's very well laid out. And the illustrations are extremely helpful. Stephen Minch's description of every sleight is like you're watching it live. Like, he covers every possible angle, really. And you start with the first trick, and you just try to work your way through that one, get it down as perfect as you can, right? And then don't move on to the next trick until you got that first one down. Like, this is a book you will study more than any other book, and really at the end of your day, the people that you'll impress the most are other magicians, because I think other magicians are the only ones that will be able to recognize the mastery that is in these tricks. The best part about this book is that there is an alphabetical card sleight index in the back. So this becomes a great reference book too. Even if you never use the tricks in it, you can always go to the back and look up the sleight index, and then you'll be able to find any sleight that's taught within this book. So it becomes two things. It becomes a magic book that teaches you real tricks, but then it also becomes a book that is a reference book that teaches you these crazy card sleights. The other great things are Kelly Lyle's illustrations are beautiful. Some of the most classical looking illustrations ever. Plus, Stephen Minch goes through and he credits everybody. All these tricks are credited so that if you ever feel like you want to take your education even further, you can look up some of these things that they mention. And normally I might say something in my review like, you want to buy this if you want to take your skill level up a notch or take your skill level to the next level. That would be wrong for me to say with this book, because this book would take you up more than a notch and more than a level. Like, there isn't that much else out there in print that I know of that is more difficult than this book. And then some of the books that I mentioned at the top of this, like I said, these are some of the best. These are some of the best books ever that you could have on your shelf. And this is one of the reasons why a book like this is sold out. It will be hard for you to find this book. And I don't always like recommending things that are hard to find, but if you are totally serious about becoming a sleight of hand artist and improving your skill to the point where you not only impress your audience, but you blow magicians away. Like I was saying earlier, like Ernest Eric is a guy that blew Di Vernon away. So I don't know how a book could get much more difficult. All right, so that's everything I can say about By Forces Unseen, The Magic of Ernest Eric by Stephen Minch. Like I said, it's probably only out there on eBay, or you're gonna find it in some local brick and mortar shop. But good luck, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Hey everybody, thanks for sticking with me to the end. As you know, it's Halloween season right now, and Halloween is my favorite time of year. A couple years ago, I did a series of brief little deck reviews called the 13 Decks of Halloween. And in that series, I show off the 13 decks in my collection that I think are the spookiest. And so if you want to watch those, they're really quick. Each video is only about 2 minutes long. You can just go up to the search field and type in hashtag 13 Decks of Halloween, and it'll bring all those up for you. And that might help get you in the mood for this spooky time of year.